I never thought I'd be the one standing in front of an entire neighborhood holding proof that our HOA president was a fraud, but that night with her world collapsing under the weight of her own lies, I realized justice isn't about revenge. It's about making sure the truth has nowhere left to hide. That was the end. But, like all good fires, it started small with a spark. My name's Jake Hartley. I sell Ferraris at Prestige Ferrari in Scottsdale. My days are supposed to be calm, polished like the cars themselves, 1,000-horsepower machines treated like dragons that only the worthy get to touch. I know the rules, I enforce them, and most of my clients respect that. Until the morning, the showroom bell chimed and in walked Karen Dinkle. She didn't walk in like a customer. She walked in like she owned the place. White blazer, sharp enough to cut glass hair, lacquered into a blonde helmet. Eyes already locked on the red SF-90. Stradale parked like a spaceship in the middle of the room. She pointed at it with a manicured finger and said, "Not asked, that one. I need it for 6 months." I gave her my salesman's smile. Polite, measured. "Our shortest lease is 24 months, ma'am, and before any keys change hands, there's the process credit application, proof of performance insurance, track orientation." She cut me off with a laugh. "Rules are for people without titles. I'm the president of Pine Ridge HOA." That one sentence told me everything. This wasn't a woman used to being told no. She was used to bending rules into weapons, pointing them at neighbors for wrong-colored mailboxes, but never applying them to herself. I looked her right in the eye and said, "At Prestige, Ferrari, the most important people are the ones who follow the rules. There are no exceptions." Her jaw clenched. She turned on her heel and stormed out. I thought maybe that was it, but people like Karen don't give up. They just look for a different angle to cheat. Sure enough, a week later, my inbox pinged. Subject line, paperwork for SF-90 Lease. Inside was a PDF, her supposed proof of insurance. At a glance, it looked fine, but something about the logo was fuzzy. I pulled up another client's binder from the same company. Side by side, the differences screamed at me. Pixelated logo. Wrong font. Policy number 123456789. A copy-pasted signature. It wasn't sloppy, it was insulting. Fraud. Plain and simple. I showed Robert our finance guy. He let out a low whistle. Did she make this in Microsoft Paint? That should have been the end. But Karen wasn't done. She showed up at the racetrack with a fake certificate claiming she'd passed some non-existent online driving course. Coach Diaz, the kind of old-school racing veteran who treats rules like gospel, looked at her over his glasses and said flatly, "Ma'am, you're not on the list. That piece of paper isn't ours. You either register properly or you leave." She fumed, shouted about her title, claimed discrimination. I watched her drive away in a storm of gravel, and I knew she wasn't finished. The real test came when she demanded a supervised lap. Against my better judgment, my boss caved to the pressure, terrified of bad publicity. So there I was, strapped into the passenger seat of an SF-90, with Karen gripping the wheel like it was a scepter. From the first second she mashed the throttle, I knew we were in for hell. She braked and gassed at the same time, ignored every command from Coach Diaz, blew straight past a yellow flag. I hovered over the kill switch, ready to shut down the car, but somehow, by miracle not skill, we finished one lap alive. She pulled back into pit lane, beaming. See, perfect. I stepped out, shaking, soaked in cold sweat. Coach Diaz printed the telemetry data, jagged spikes and scribbles that looked like an earthquake graph. He pointed at the sheet. Full throttle and 80% brake at the same time. On my track, that gets you banned for life. Karen's smug grin faltered, then hardened again. She whipped out her phone and went live on social media, tears in her eyes, voice trembling with rehearsed victimhood. "I'm being bullied," she told hundreds of viewers. "They don't want a strong, successful woman driving a Ferrari. They forced me into a defective car. This is sexism. This is gatekeeping." I watched her spin lies like silk, and I'll admit it, I almost gave up. For a moment, I wondered if maybe I'd been too rigid. Maybe I should have just let her take the damn car. Was I the one causing all this chaos? The weight of my boss's calls. The threat of media storms, it crushed me. I sat in my office, staring at her live stream, feeling smaller and smaller. But then I thought about what my brother used to tell me. Rules are walls, Jake. They protect everyone. When you let one person climb over, the whole thing crumbles. I realized this wasn't about me. It wasn't about a car. It was about the people who could be hurt if someone like Karen got her way. And that gave me the fire to fight back. I called Tessa, a longtime client and a Ferrari owner herself. She's playing the sexism card, I told her. Tessa didn't even hesitate. That woman makes us all look like idiots. What do you need? An hour later, we filmed a calm, professional video. Tessa held up her own binder, her own track certificate, saying, "I'm a woman. I went through all of this. It's about safety, not gender." Robert backed her up with dealership policy. 2 minutes, no drama, just facts. We posted it everywhere. And it worked. The tide turned. Karen's sob story started looking flimsy. Mimi's popped up mocking her telemetry data. And right then, as the storm raged online, I got a message from an unfamiliar number. "This is Hunter from Pine Ridge. We need to talk. We've had problems with her for years." At the coffee shop, Hunter laid it out. HOA fees, climbing services declining, but Karen always finding money for her beautification projects. When residents asked for the books, she stonewalled. She was the president and the treasurer. She was writing the rules and cashing the checks. My methodical brain clicked into gear. You and your neighbors can demand an audit. Get signatures. Force the books open. They did, and what they found made the fake insurance look like child's play. Spa treatments logged as pool repairs. Steakhouse dinners called board meetings. Thousands in designer clothes. And a consulting company paid $20,000 a year for landscaping plans owned by Karen under her maiden name. She was literally paying herself with HOA money while the neighborhood rotted. That led to the night I'll never forget. The special board meeting. Community hall packed wall-to-wall, angry residents buzzing like a jury about to deliver a verdict. Karen sat up front, flanked by her 2 loyal friends, looking bored, dismissive, confident her title would shield her. Hunter stepped up to the mic, his hands shaking, and started clicking through the projector slides. Spa charges, steakhouse bills, handbags, all disguised in the HOA budget. Murmurs grew into shouts. Karen leapt to her feet, screaming, "Slander lies!" The retired judge in the front row calmly overruled her. Then it was my turn. Marcus, our head of security, plugged in a thumb drive. Slide after slide lit up the screen. Karen pointing at the Ferrari, demanding a 6-month lease, her forged insurance side by side with a real one, the official fraud letter from the insurance company, her crumpled fake track pass, and finally the damning telemetry printout. The room went dead silent. Karen's face drained of color. She shrieked, called it all a conspiracy, threatened lawsuits. But Robert stepped forward, his voice calm. Truth is a defense. Presenting documented facts isn't defamation. It's accountability. That single word, accountability, hung in the air like a hammer. Then the retired judge stood and boomed, "I move for the immediate removal of Karen Dinkle as president of Pine Ridge HOA." Hands shot up across the room, a forest of votes. Opposed, only Karen and her 2 cronies. 3 hands in a sea of hundreds. The motion carried. She was done. She shoved her chair back, purse clutched in white knuckles, eyes burning holes through me as she stormed out. "You'll regret this," she hissed when she passed. But the truth was already out, the power stripped away. She could rant online all she wanted, no one was listening anymore. That's how it ended. Not with cheers, not with celebration, but with silence. The heavy silence of neighbors seeing the real face of the woman who ruled them for years. And if there's one lesson I took from it all, it's this. The louder someone insists they're above the rules, the more important it is to hold the line.